Hey friends, happy Vlogmas! I read 14 books in June. I read the best book of the year and the worst book of the year in the same month. Remarkable. I mean, I might change my mind in the next couple of weeks, but I'm pretty sure the worst book of the year isn't changing. Let's start with comics. I continued reading Heavy Vinyl with Volume 2, Y2KO by Carly Uzin and Nina Vaqueva. I enjoyed this series, but I don't think Volume 2 was much stronger than Volume 1. The record store employees / feminist fight club start a band, compete in a battle of the bands, all to stop an evil record company from implementing Y2K and therefore save the world, the internet, and the future of digital music. It's another excellent concept with below average execution. It's a fun story that lacks cohesion because it's really more of a concept than a narrative. And even with an ensemble cast, there isn't enough focus on any one character to really push the story forward. I'm giving Heavy Vinyl Volume 2, Y2KO by Carly Uzin and Nina Vaqueva 4 stars. I also started reading The Avant-Gardes by Carly Uzin and Noah Hayes. I read the first 2 volumes of the story. It's about a group of girls attending an art school who are trying to start a basketball league. This story is also pretty fractured at times, but I think the ensemble cast and rotating point of view, along with more fleshed out characters, helps make up for that and helps with the lack of cohesion. It is overall an enjoyable story. I'm giving Volume 1 and Volume 2 of The Avant-Gardes by Carly Uzin and Noah Hayes 4 stars. And next up we have young adult fiction. I also continued reading the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. In fact, I read the last 4 books of the series. I spent a lot of time with these characters and in this world, and I loved it. Book 2, The Son of Neptune, takes us back to Percy Jackson being the main character. He has been given amnesia by Hera and was sent to live in the Roman camp. This book introduces my favorite characters, Frank and Hazel. The 3 heroes get sent on a quest to Alaska to save the Greek god of death. I'm a big fan of the decision to include people of color in this world of heroes and demigods. Book 3, The Mark of Athena, has all 7 of the world's greatest heroes travel from California to Italy on the world's most dangerous non-road trip as they all begin to work together to fight Gia. I really liked Annabeth being able to prove herself and be a lone hero for a while, since so many people see her as Percy's sidekick because they're dating, when she is a full-fledged hero in her own right. Book 4, The House of Hades. Nico joins the trip and hangs out with all of these new heroes. And Percy and Annabeth travel around in Tartarus. And there is finally an openly queer person in this series. It was nice because the characters were separated again into smaller groups throughout the story, and we really got a feel not just for who these individual characters are, but for the friendships that had developed throughout the series. Book 5, The Blood of Olympus, is a non-stop, high-intensity adventure taking place all over the world. Heroes fight with the gods one last time, ending one war against Gia and preventing a second one from ever taking place between the Greek and Roman demigods. I'm giving the entire Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan 4 stars. I decided to pick up another sequel and read We Unleash the Merciless Storm by Taylor K. Meha. This is the sequel to We Set the Dark on Fire, which I read in 2019. It's a stunning conclusion to the story of spies, rebellion, unjust immigration laws, and how people fight to be seen as people. This features a same-sex female couple and an all-Latinx cast and society. It really highlights the humanity found within revolution and rebellion. It shows not just the fight, but who we're fighting for. I don't think the sequel was quite as strong as the first book, but ultimately, I enjoyed the story. I'm giving We Unleash the Merciless Storm by Taylor K. Meha 4 stars. I read Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky Albertalli and Aisha Saeed. I doubt anyone will find this surprising, but I am a sucker for collaborative storytelling. This is a love story between a Jewish boy and a Muslim girl that takes place over Ramadan and in the lead up to a bat mitzvah. The couple gets to know each other as they team up to knock on doors for a state legislature candidate. This book is just amazing. I actually live tweeted reading it because I felt that I had so much to say about the book. I might make a full book review and post it on this channel because I think reviewing a political book as someone who works in politics might be cool. It might be interesting. I'm giving Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky L. Bertali and Aisha Saeed 4 stars. The book everyone was reading this summer was the new Hunger Games prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This prequel follows President Snow in his youth. This book was unnecessary and uninteresting. It was the worst book I've read all year. It was really slow-paced, and the constant nods to the original trilogy became exhausting, as they weren't weaved into the story in a way that improved the story that was currently being told. I'm giving The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins 2 stars. The last young adult fiction book I read was Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender. This is a contemporary novel about a trans boy who encounters some anti-trans bullying when someone posts pre-transition photos of him with his dead name around his school. He becomes obsessed with finding the culprit, and against the advice of his best friend, catfishes the main suspect. Once he realizes his suspect wasn't the culprit, he decides to keep talking to him. Because Felix feels unlovable. He's a black, queer, trans man, and this high schooler feels like he's just too much for anyone to ever fall in love with. And as he keeps talking with this boy who he thought was terrible, he realizes that someone might actually be able to love him. Honestly, this was the best book I've read all year. It has given me so much. I'm giving Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender 5 stars. I read one science fiction book, which I guess is for adults. I reread the first Welcome to Nightvale novel, which is simply titled Welcome to Nightvale, and was written by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Kranger. This novel is perfect for fans of the podcast, but you don't need to know anything about Nightvale to read this book. It can be scary or creepy at times, but it is mostly a story about family and finding yourself when you live in a scary world. We all live in a scary world right now, so this was really helpful. I'm giving Welcome to Nightvale by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Kranger 5 stars. Finally, I read 2 nonfiction books. I read Washington, A Life by Ron Chernow. This was one of the best biographies I've ever read. Ron Chernow is just so detailed. I learned so much about George Washington that nobody had ever thought to teach me. It was also just an interesting biography in a way that not all stories about historical figures manage to be. It wasn't a book of Washington's accomplishments, but a book about who he was as a complex human being who had good and bad qualities. I'm giving Washington, A Life by Ron Chernow 5 stars. The last book I read was the ABCs of LGBT+ by Ash Hardell. This is a super accessible guide to the LGBTQ+ community and experiences. This has in-depth definitions, personal anecdotes from several members of the LGBT+ community, and fun infographics, all geared towards providing people with a friendly guide and introduction to the LGBT+ community and experience. It is definitely a great book if you want to work towards understanding this community and the wide range of experiences that are possible in this world. I'm giving the ABCs of LGBT by Ash Hardell 4 stars. Those are all 14 books I read in June. Tell me down in the comments about the best book you've read this year. And if you want to see more from me, please subscribe, watch another video of mine, or support me on Patreon. And hey, I love you.